right, so let's call this December 2nd, 2020 meeting of the Northern Nevada Water Planning Commission to order. First item on the agenda is roll call and determination of a quorum.
All right, Bill Hauk,
Here?
Danielle Henderson, Michael Widmer, Michael Drinkwater,
Here.
John Enlow,
Here.
John Flansburgh,
Here.
Mickey Hazelwood,
Here.
John Martini,
Here.
John Combs,
Here.
Dave Solero, Mervyn Wright, Harry Fonstock, Mylin Nugayan, Cindy Turchek, Ron Penrose. We have a quorum.
Okay, great. Next item on the agenda is public comment. I don't know if we have any.
We have none.
We have none, okay. Next item is approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Mr. Zimmerman? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Fourth item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the October 7th and November 4th meetings.
I move to approve the minutes from October 7th.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second from Mr. Flansburgh.
Actually, it was Drinkwater. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Just
You guys, everybody sounds alike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda.
Hey, Bill, let me do the November 4th now. We only did the October 7th. I took them separately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Bill.
Sorry, I thought we did
Move
both.
to approve the minutes of November 4th, 2020.
We have a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries too. All right, next item on the agenda is a report and discussion concerning the results of the November 4th Northern Nevada Water Planning Commission workshop and recommendations on annual priorities and ongoing future projects and studies for fiscal year 2021 to 2022 and possible direction to staff. Mr. Wessel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One quick note, I don't know if Jen, I believe Danielle's there on the line as an attendee. I don't know if you see that. I want to bring her into the meeting when you have a chance. Anyway, as you all recall, November 4th, we held our annual priority setting workshop for 21-22 fiscal year. Historically, the outcome of the workshop has been used as the basis for the development of the Western Regional Water Commission's professional service budget detail. The workshop results are summarized in the table provided as an attachment to your staff report. I assume you all have that available to you. The priorities are summarized in three different ways. The first table shows priority by category. Those are the basic planning categories that we use for the Western Regional Water Commission. The second table shows you the priorities by project, which illustrate the priorities ranking by the professional services projects that we are currently or are anticipating for next year. And then the second page, on the back page of that, illustrates both the priority by categories and projects. So this should be familiar to you from last year. I don't think there was any real surprises in the way the voting came out. But I guess with that, Mr. Chair, I'd leave it to the commission to review and discuss the results of the workshop, keeping in mind that staff is looking for a recommendation for the Western Regional Water Commission concerning priorities for the 21-22 fiscal year.
Thanks, Mr. Wessel. Do we have any comments or questions for Mr. Wessel? All right, hearing none, I guess this is for possible action, entertain a motion for a recommendation to the Western Regional Water Commission to approve the results of the workshop.
So moved.
Your motion, we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Flansburgh. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item on the agenda. Discussion and possible action to authorize the program manager to enter into an agreement with TMRPA in an amount not to exceed $25,000 to provide support related to the update of the 2021 through 2040 Comprehensive Regional Water Management Plan and possible direction to staff. Mr. Wessel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you're aware, staff is currently in the middle of the 21-2040 Regional Water Management Plan update. As in previous updates, the TMRPA or planning agency has provided analysis and input in support of development of the population forecasting and projections chapter. In addition, TMRPA has offered to provide some overall support related to graphics and report preparation services and the like. In response to a request from staff, Jeremy Smith has agreed to provide some support services related to, one, updating the Chapter 7 population forecasting elements, including population forecasting, wastewater projections, and water balance modeling. Two, to provide GIS support for figures and related to the plan. And three, report preparation and other related support. So basically, staff's looking for approval to expend $25,000 from the Regional Water Management Fund and authorization for the program manager to enter into an agreement with TMRPA for that amount.
All right, thanks, Mr. Wessel. Sounds like a worthwhile endeavor to me. Have any comments or questions from the commission?
It seems to me this is one of the primary jobs that we have is the review and update of this plan. And so I'm in favor and ready to take a motion when ready.
Bill, I just want to make a comment. I think this is money well spent. This was a nice addition to the plan. I think all of us needs from our agencies have used the data outside of just the plan. And I'm very supportive of continuing this with the TMRPA.
I would agree. I would agree. I don't know. Looks like some other people trying to make comment. Well, Mr. Flansburgh made a motion. Do we have a second for approval?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Second by Mr. Martini. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion, all right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving right along, next item on the agenda, discussion concerning the 2021 through 2040 Comprehensive Regional Water Management Plan update and possible direction to staff. Again, to you, Mr. Wessel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I just wanted to kind of give you an update on where we are and where we're headed with the plan. I know it's kind of it seems like it's probably fallen in the background here, but I assure you that it has not. As you know, I submitted 3 of the chapters to you in the last, our last meeting, or the meeting, our regular scheduled meeting, not the workshop. Chapter 2, the water resource chapter, Chapter 3, the water purveyors chapter, and Chapter 8 is the conservation chapter. I received comments on all three of those from TUMWA, which I fully expected because those brought the chapters up to date and kind of coincident with the update of the water resource plan from TUMWA. I also, in chapter 3, I received comments from Sparks on the reclaimed water numbers. Still waiting for a few numbers from Reno and Washoe County on that, but that chapter should be pretty much ready to go also. So I'm expecting those to be ready kind of in a final draft form in our next meeting. So that's kind of what the situation with those three are that you have in hand. As to the additional chapters that are currently underway, chapter 1, the policy and criteria chapter, Smitherman and I are going to be working on that this month and see if we can kind of come up with something that we should be able to present that to you at our next meeting. Chapter 4, the wastewater and effluent management chapter, that's going to be done by Jim Smitherman and with some help from Jeff Curtis and working with the regional effluent management team. As you know, we split chapter 4 into 2 chapters, a wastewater chapter, chapter 4, and then chapter 5 is a stormwater chapter. I think rightfully so, chapter 4 has got a lot of information, just way too much I think it warrants its own chapter. And so I expect that one to take a little bit more time down the road. Chapter 5, the stormwater chapter, City of Reno's Lisa Jones is working on that with NCE and consulting, and they're developing a rewrite of that, a variety of the chapter elements there, and I expect that to be out maybe a draft by next meeting, not sure, but sometime early spring. Chapter 6, flood management chapter, I've asked the Flood Management Authority to provide some updates. As many of you know, I think and I did not see this meeting, but I understand that they presented some new ideas, or at least a new plan. And so I want to make sure we capture that. So I know that Ms. Henderson, Commissioner Henderson has been diligently working on that. I'm sure of it. I doubt she's even sleeping and getting work done on that.
Oh, brother. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Chris.
Absolutely. And then there's chapter 7, the population forecast chapter. Jim Smitherman and will work with Jeremy Smith at TMRPA to put that together. That is, as indicated, with the financing, that will help secure that chapter. That'll be done. Should be sometime mid-spring, I would think. Chapter 9 is the cost and finance chapter. Catherine Hansford from Hansford Economic Consulting, I'm sure has contacted most of you that have CIPs related to the plan, and she'll be putting together some information. So hopefully you've been able to work with her. She's been really great in the past, and I think she's worked well with us in the past. So I anticipate that I know that's moving forward. Chapter 10, issues and actions chapter. We haven't started this one. I think Jim and I will probably take the first crack at this, but usually this doesn't happen until the end of the planning process because we've got to find out what all the issues and actions are, and then we'll kind of put something together. So with that in mind, that kind of update, as far as the schedule goes, I anticipate our next meeting to be February meeting. Chapters 2, 3, and 8 should be in a final draft minus some formatting and minor figure updates. Possibly chapter 1, policy and criteria, and possibly the stormwater chapter 5 might be available at that time. So mid-spring, March through May, should be bringing you chapters for the flood management, population forecasting, and cost and financing. Those 3 chapters should be coming in due around that time. And then in the summertime, I expect chapter 4, the wastewater and effluent management chapter to come through, and also the issues and actions chapter. And no, I'm not putting any dates on this because I'm I'm just trying to be optimistic about how this is moving forward. I think it actually is moving forward much better than I expected. So I would hope that it does. My intent is to issue the chapters in a meeting, and then hopefully we come back and revisit them at the following meeting with any updates or comments from you. As a reminder, if you do want to make comments and you're interested in making, maybe some edits and so forth, and if you want to just do them and send them to me by email, that's great. If you need a Word version of the document, I'm happy to provide that to you. Just let me know. I have provided, I think, to City of Reno and also to Helma, and if you'd like it that way, I can provide it that way too. So that's I think that's pretty much all I had for the plan update, and that's kind of my optimistic overview of where we're headed. So,
All right, thanks for the update, Mr. Wessel. Do we have any comments or questions from the commission? Flansburgh?
Thanks. Chris, I appreciate the verbal update. I think for me, just visually, it helps if I just had a table and you just laid it out and then just kind of gave where the status is. And if you're looking for information from one of the groups or something, if it's theirs and they're in review or something like that, just a quick little description in a table would help me out.
sure.
I know we've got to wrap this up by late spring, early summer. So I know it's going to be important for us to stay on track. So appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great comment. Thanks, John. I probably would have done that had I not run out of time. I kind of got to it a little bit late. So I will put that in a spreadsheet for you. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Anyone else? So this item is for possible action. Do we a motion to accept the update from Mr. Wessel?
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Flansburgh, second by Mr. Zimmerman, right? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Wessel. All right, next item on the agenda, Program Manager's Report. Again to you, Mr. Wessel. Report on status of projects and work plans supported by Regional Water Management Fund, and financial report on the Regional Water Management Fund.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I did promise you that I would get you the status report on our various projects. I had held off on that until we were in a place where I could actually provide you a comprehensive, maybe even an understandable output from our accounting system. If you're looking at the status report, you can see there's all our projects are listed, and we should be up to date, fairly well up to date on our balances and how they're progressing. I don't think there's anything unusual in that report. Nothing stood out. But if you have any questions on that, I'm glad to handle those. The other thing is on the second item, financial report, you can see that currently our revenues are about $1 million, and our revenue versus expenses, or our expenditures, about $310. So we should be. It looks like we're in good shape. This does not account, of course, take into account any of our cash reserves. So I think we're doing well for the year, and I think we're right on track to be where we are. We've had our two biggest quarters for the irrigation season, and so the two remaining quarters usually tend to be $200,000 to $300,000 in revenues. So we should be right about hitting target, I would think. So with that, if there's any questions, Mr. Chair, on that.
I'll open it up. All right, well, thank you for the update on that, Mr. Wessel. Next item on the agenda, discussion regarding location and possible agenda items for the February 2021 for the Nevada Water Planning Commission meeting and other future meetings, and possible direction to staff. Mr. Wessel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My next anticipated meeting would be February 3rd, unless anybody felt there was a need for a January meeting. I just don't think I'd have enough to warrant putting a meeting together in January. I'm not sure that it's warranted. The February meeting, I anticipate doing the budget, as we always do. There's also a conformance review, that process that we're going through. I know that Mr. Pani and Mr. Smitherman have both been working on that, along with me, trying to revise our conformance review procedures, and we will probably bring that to you at that time. And also, again, there'll be some regional water management plan chapters. I anticipate them coming. There'll be some more chapters brought to your attention, both perhaps some for final, kind of in their final draft form for approval, and others that may be just introduced to you for your review. I also have a couple of items from the Stormwater Committee. I don't know if that'll come on February 3rd. It could be pushed down the road to a future meeting. But two things that are coming up are pollution trading credits as a program that seems to be having some traction with the committee. Not quite there yet, but I think that's going to come around, and that should come to this commission at some point in the future. I anticipate that in the budget. We'll put a placeholder in the budget for that. It was on the priorities listing, as was the watershed assessments. Both of them are coming from the water planning or the stormwater committee. So not exactly sure when they're going to come back. Could be in February. Could be maybe in the April meeting, May meeting. So then our following meeting would be March 3rd. That's a concurrent meeting with Western Regional Water Commission. Obviously, that's a discussion on priorities and budget. The concurrent meeting was requested by the Western Regional Water Commission, and it's, I think it's really an opportunity for a lot of them to try and catch up with you directly as to what it is we're doing and why we're doing things. And this is a great opportunity for you to get in front of them and kind of pitch any of the programs that you're currently working on. And so, at any rate, that is by their request. So that I will anticipate that happening on March 3rd. I'm thinking either March 3rd or it'll be it could be later in the year. Could be the 17th, depending on which we decide to do, whether early meeting or later meeting. Probably the 17th, now that I think about it. And then I haven't really gotten to the April and May meetings, but most of those meetings, those two meetings typically we reserve for reviewing proposals and doing contract related issues. So I would anticipate that being what those meetings are for. So that's what I have for our meeting schedule as it's coming up for next year.
Okay, great. Do we have any comments from the commission? Any discussion?
Bill, I have one question. It's Enlow. Chris,
Enlow.
just watch out for that March 17th date, because I think that's a TUMWA board meeting day as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, good point. So so I'm glad I put March 3rd down here on my notes. Well, I'll have to contemplate that, and perhaps we'll have to coordinate that. Thanks.
Mr. Flensburg.
Chris, I would say that if we have anything that's going to be a new program that might be included in a future budget, we would probably be well served to try to get that on the February meeting if possible, just so we have some information to consider it if there's going to be some sort of introductory information on those items.
Excellent. Then I will make a point of trying to get those two items that I mentioned from the Stormwater Committee are probably the newest, or things that we've never really done anything with in the past, maybe that's a new concept. So I will bring those forward at that time. Currently they're going through the Stormwater Committee, so they should come to you with essentially a recommendation from them. That's what I'm hoping.
Mr. Pani, do we need to vote on canceling the January meeting in this motion? This items for possible action?
I would include it. I can't remember if it's already been on the schedule of approved meetings. So just to be safe, if you're canceling it, that'd be appropriate.
Okay. Well, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion for the next Northern Nevada Water Planning Commission meeting to be held on February 3rd at 1:30 PM virtually.
You have a second?
John Enlow, second.
John Enlow, second. All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
The motion carries. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is commission comments. I'll just up.
This one is more of a informational item for the group, just so you're all aware. Chairman Hauk has taken over Tumwa's conservation program. So he'll be supervising our conservation staff. This will be in addition to his water supply administrator duties. So he's got a lot to take on, but we know he'll do very well. And as you guys know, as you all know, the water usage review program comes before this commission. So look forward to that. Thanks.
Thanks, John. All right, next item on the agenda, staff comments.
I've said everything I can possibly say today. Thanks.
And you've done well, thank you. Public comments. I can't tell that we have any.
There's none.
There is no public comment. All right, last item on the agenda, adjournment. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
You
Move
can.
to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second. Second by Mr. Flansburgh. All right. Well, thank you all. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you all in February. And let's hope next year's better than this year.
Thanks.
Agreed. See you, everybody.